Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. There's a bunch of little news items that we're going to go through today. Basically some more comments from community managers, and then also we have a new Pages of History, which is going to be starting on the 1st of September, so we'll be going through that too. There's also some news about the new KV-1 and its relation to the Russian tech tree, so it should be kind of cool to see what goes on with that. Anyway, let's get into the news. As always, if you enjoy this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. For the Pages of History, which will be going from the 1st of September until the 30th, the new profile picture this time is for Lev Mikhailovich Roschin, I believe is how you say it. Basically, this is an attacker pilot from the USSR during the Second World War. He arrived at the front at the age of 19 in December 1941. He was a skilled pilot and quickly earned the rank of lieutenant, becoming a squadron commander. During the war, he fought in the Caucasus, the Crimea, Leningrad, and also the Baltics, completing 565 combat sorties. And for exemplary performance of combat missions in the Baltic operation, he was awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union title, which is pretty cool. So you can get this profile picture from the 1st of September to the 30th. You can either complete the individual tasks, or you can just G it. But also, if you complete the individual tasks, you do get yourself some added bonuses, including maybe a premium account for one day, random camouflage, some backups, or some boosters, which obviously help you through the grind. The actual stuff that you have to end up doing, so from the 1st to the 4th September is the Bryansk operation. This is Eastern Front 1943, so German-Soviet. The 5th of September to the 8th is the Victory Parade in 1945, so we'll probably have a bunch of different vehicles there, since there was a lot of nations from the Allied forces which took place. The 8th of the 11th has the Battle of Asal Uttar, which is the second Indian and Pakistani war, so we'll have some tanks and stuff like that from both sides. From the 12th to the 15th, you got the Baltic operation, which is, of course, once again 1944 Eastern Front. 16th to the 19th, which is the Battle of Arracore, which basically was the largest tank battle on the Western Front in 1944, one of the last gasp efforts for the Germans to try and break out and win. Unfortunately, didn't happen. The 19th to the 22nd, you got the Battle of Hurtgen Forest, which of course is more of a continuation of that, the good old last-ditch Ardennes offensive. Then the 23rd to 26th, you have the Tuapse defensive operation, which is part of Barbarossa, I believe. The Eastern Front, USSR versus Germany again. Then the 27th to the 30th, you have Operation Samen ol Eime, which is from 1981, and it's the Iran and Iraq War, I believe. So when those guys fought each other. We will see how these go. It shouldn't be too bad. Usually the Iran-Iraq War ones are a little bit tough. As I've said before with the Pages of History, I wish they would start trying to put in nation bonuses instead of just individual vehicle bonuses, since the general format is getting stale, playing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. We also have a bit of news about the new KV-1. Now, in the dev blog, it talks about the KV-1 coming to Finland, which of course is part of the Swedish tech tree, but coming as a premium, which sucks, as we talked about yesterday. It would have been one of Sweden's only heavy tanks, the other one being the Kungstiger, which is also a premium, so still no standard tech tree heavy tank for the big hitters. The Swedish tech tree, by the way, is very fun right now, especially in ground. You just have to get through the first few ranks, and then it feels really good. I know that sounds really odd, but unfortunately, the first few ranks really rely on APDS, and APDS is not always the best round, especially at the lower BRs, where you have a lot low caliber. But anyway, with this coming to the Swedish tech tree, one of the things that was talked about is where is it going to come for Russia? Because, of course, in the future, one of the things that has to be understood is this is a Russian vehicle. The reason why it's going into the Finnish part is because the Finns captured them from the Soviets at the time. So Austin Yes has come in and said, we have planned to add it to the Soviet tree in future. Just follow the news as usual. So I don't know whether it's going to come this update or it's going to come in future updates, but it seems like it's in the same position as the Tor M1. If you remember with the Tor M1, what they decided to do was they brought it in for the Chinese, and then they said it was going to come in later on for the Russians. It still hasn't, but I'm sure at some point it will come in. It's just one of those which is on the back burner. I feel like with this KV1, hopefully it's not as far on the back burner, since it would be nice to have a standard tech tree version for the Soviets, but also at the same time, try and find one for the damn Swedish, so we can actually get some dailies and specials done. It's also time to once again go into some of Smins' comments and give a real big piece of context, because in general this is something which is super important to understand when it comes to content management or when it comes to anything like that, and also at the same time kind of nail down certain things that he's said. Because for the love of God, even after like yesterday and basically saying exactly what he said, it's still not getting through some people's minds. So first of all, Smins said today, that's pretty much exactly what has been said, yes. We have not confirmed when it will come, only that it wasn't planned to come now, or what other nations will get it and when, other than nobody getting it before America. He's obviously talking about the FA-18 here, and I thought that was pretty self-explanatory, but it turns out there's a bunch of people who've decided that that is not self-explanatory, so have been questioning the whole thing about it, which is kind of surprising. So yeah, if you need, once again, the understanding about the FA-18, even though it was in the leak list for the Swiss, it was never planned to come next update. It also will come in the future because it's the F-18, but we don't know when. And also, if it comes from other nations, no matter what, it will come to America first. That does not mean that it won't be added to other nations alongside America in the same update, but it means if the F-18 is coming, there is a variant coming for the Americans straight away. He also talked about the KV1 once again, which says, we have already said that we haven't ruled it out being introduced to the USSR too, and have planned to do so in the future. Since that's not in this major update, however, there isn't much more to say about that at the moment. So basically the KV1 isn't coming this update for the USSR. It can come in the future though, and it will do, because more content is always better. The only question, as I've said before, about these types of vehicles is what happens when people kind of get bored of playing the same vehicles over and over and over again. Do you introduce a system where it makes it easier to grind through them? And also, is it something that would be better to see in some other different areas of the game? Also, for some reason, there's a lot of people comparing a bunch of different examples to the Hornet, stuff like the KF-41, for example. For some reason, people are comparing this to, like, the Hornet thing, where, you know, people have said, well, why didn't the KF-41 go to Germany, since it's a German vehicle? And the fact is, the Germans don't use the KF-41. They've never used it, even though it's built by Germany. It doesn't mean, once again, that it's operated by Germany. And also, the big difference is the actual kind of height of its, I suppose, knownness. That's no height of its popularity. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. The fact is, the FA-18, just like the F-16, the F-15, the F-22, these are iconic American vehicles, right? They are iconic. If you decided that you do not add them to America and you add them to other people, there would be riots. With the KF-41, they added it to Italy, and most people's thoughts was this: what the hell is a KF-41? And then they found out it was German and went, oh, that should be in the German tech tree. So the difference between them is very stark. Everybody knows about the American industrial complex. Everybody knows, or military industrial complex, I should say. Everybody knows about their aircraft since they have the best air force in the world. They are highly publicized and understood as American vehicles. Comparing the KF-41 to them is laughable in terms of the size and kind of pride and popularity behind them, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah. The other thing to also mention, and this is probably the more poignant point, when it comes to adding vehicles to specific nations, the first rule that, at least over the years, I can, put into the game itself is they put stuff in places that would make the tech tree a better experience and balance it out compared to other ones. So that's rule number one, because every other kind of reason or any other answer that has been put out there can be simply contradicted by another answer or another question for another tech tree, because they don't see the tech trees as a together thing. Therefore, the rules of a specific tech tree do not apply to the other ones because they see them as individual entities. So what ends up happening is you just have this absolute rigmarole of working out, well, why is this vehicle here when this vehicle didn't go over here? And it's a completely worthless discussion, because at the end of the day, Gaijin will do what they want and they will come up with the reasons afterwards. And also, at the same time, the major thing they're focusing on is balance and parity across the board. And we can always, disagree on whether they're doing well on that or what, but that is the goal. So that's why stuff like the KF-41 doesn't go just straight to Germany, it goes to other nations, because Germany already has options to be able to put into their tech tree, and the KF-41 could be used somewhere else. Same with a bunch of other vehicles that are already in the game. So, yeah, it's the same reason why the R2Y2s haven't been removed, even though the German vehicles were removed. It's the same reason for the SK-105, when it was only in the German tech tree to start with, for some reason, even though it had no tie to Germany at all, and then ended up eventually in the French tech tree too, where it made sense to add. There's all these different things. The reason why the Swiss Hunter is in the German tech tree, right? Balance. Simple as. So that is the thing that you have to see. The other part is, as there's another comment from Esmin, says, as we have mentioned multiple times now, we do not have any current plans for the KV-1B. I've answered you multiple times on this. I appreciate you really want to see it, but spamming me about it sadly isn't going to change that. Right now we're introducing this new KV-1 for Finland. Yeah, they're not going to add the KV-1B to the tech tree. They should do, because then they'd actually have to balance it, wouldn't they? But no. Instead, it's just going to be a pub stomper for many years. The KV-1E and 1B have been two vehicles that have been heavily abused by veteran players for the longest time to be able to actually annihilate young players, I suppose is the way to put it. And it's just rude. It's been incredibly rude. And I just wish that in the future we would see it in the tech tree for a simple reason. It's the fact that they would actually have to be forced to balance it because it would be a standard tech tree vehicle, because everybody would spam it. But since it's a rare premium, not enough people spam it. But it is a go-to for a lot of people to bully players who are new to the game. It sucks, it's awful, and I wish they would do something about it. But they're not going to, because they know the problem, and fixing it means pissing off a bunch of people in the German and the Soviet tech tree. Anyway, that's the major news for today. If there's anything else, I'll make sure to let you know. Look after yourselves as always, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecovo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.